Welcome to the Bobcast. This is episode 2. Since we're still in the off season and I need lots of points because I'm in the negative, we're going to do another one. Just a couple more, probably. In this episode, we're going to be discussing free agency, the big signings so far, and since there's only a couple days left, probably all the big signings that have gone on so far. So, here we go. There's been an interesting offseason. A lot of guys made the free agency. The big ones mainly because of either they wouldn't resign with the team, obviously, or because Colorado pretty much doesn't have a GM anymore, and so it's all its players made it to free agency. So let's take a look at who signed. We'll go by day, pretty much. The first big free agent to sign, at least I'll put big in quotations, was Tampa Bay signing Ryusuburo Izo for $8 million per year for 2 years. Izo's a 37-year-old first baseman. Tampa Bay didn't really need help offensively. The rich get richer, I guess. Izo, 78 contact, 67 gap, 83 power, 63 I, 76 avoid K. At $8 million a year for 2 years, that's a pretty good price for him. Tampa Bay, Jimmy didn't really overpay for the guy. That's a good contract giving him. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. There's nothing more to say about that. That's a nice, fair amount. He didn't overpay, and he gets a solid play for it. So we are here, so let's talk about overpaying. Anthony Bass, 27-year-old starter, even though he's listed as a reliever, made it to free agency and was signed by the Dodgers. Now, it's a nice signing by them, getting the guy, because he could be solid, but for $9 million a year for 2 years, that is way, way too much money to give this guy. Hasn't pitched a day in the bigs so far. Had a 2.8 ERA last year in AAA, but never made to the bigs yet. 79 contacts, 76 gaps, 71 movement. 79 stuffs, 76 control, 71 movement, and he's way better against lefties than against righties. He's not a good starter, and paying him $9 million a year, I don't really get that contract given up by the Dodgers, but all the power to them. The next big contract signed, I don't know if it's big, but it's interesting. Philadelphia gave Adelin Rodriguez $3.25 million for 1 year. That's a good contract in my opinion, because it's an automatic re-sign after the 1 year, and he is a 23-year-old prospect. So that's a nice thing. He reached free agency. Arizona let him go, or he walked away from Arizona at least. $3.2 million 5 year, like I said, for 1 year. He's an 8'10" prospect with 4.7 I avoid K, which is good. There's one problem being is that he's going to be turning 24, and he has 0 ratings. Like, none whatsoever. 12 contact, 15 gap, 25 power, 12 I. He has not developed at all, so it is very highly questionable, or who knows if he ever is actually going to sign. If he's ever actually going to get ready. There are a bunch of, guys like this, prospects who went out and got signed. The biggest one is Arodys Vizcaino, 24-year-old pitcher, was pretty much the centerpiece of the original Joey Bats trade. Toronto let him walk. Toronto seems to have that problem of Rule 5 or free agency guys walking who really shouldn't. He's a good GM, obviously, because he is. And he also, because he grades these. But he has a problem watching, like Krause and Vizcaino, those guys walking. So Vizcaino's 24 years old, starting pitcher, 8'10", 10 talents, decently developed, 40, 60s, 80. And he was given an $8 million a year contract for 6 years. If he ends up developing, then great job by Aaron. If he doesn't, then he's stuck with that $8 million a year for 6 years. They probably won't be stuck. He'll just deal him or something. But it's a good contract, or interesting contract at least. Another contract, Chris Iannetta, solid catcher, and I mean solid as in just that solid. Got $3.5 million a year contract, 60, 60, 70 with the 100 I, so he's okay. The best hitter in free agency was Dexter Fowler. Previously mentioned, Colorado. He walked away. I figured he would get like a $25 million a year contract because he was far and away the best hitter. He's great contact, great eye, ton of speed, Gold Glove center fielder. He's a really, really good player. And he was signed by Boston. You'll notice that the big signings, the big teams in the AL East, maybe not happy about finishing in the bottom. Boston and New York both went out, made big splashes in free agency and in trades. So Boston gets Dexter Fowler. He's only 28 years old, signed for $15 million a year for 5 years. That's a really, really nice contract. and pretty cheap. I mean, I know I would have made a play for Fowler, but the cocksucker wouldn't talk to me. Even though I won the World Series and he wouldn't talk to me. But whatever, 91 contact, 89 gap, 37 power, 92 I, 59 of IK. So he's really, really good. Contact hitter, I. Center field, Gold Glove, like I said. A lot of speed, good base running instincts. One problem is that he doesn't really know how to steal. He's a terrible stealer. He has 193 steals, and he's been caught 184 times. So hopefully Colorado is smarter than Boston started smarter than Colorado and does not send him as often because he's not good at stealing. But he does everything else besides that in power. So great signing by Boston. Pisses me off. I wish they didn't. But good job by them. Next big contract handed out was by Baltimore. Baltimore signed the catcher from Cuba. I think he's from Cuba. Pedro Alhamuda. 30 years old, signed him a contract of $14 million per year for 5 years. 75 contacts, 70 gap, 87 power, 76 I, 62 of IK. No speed, but he's a 9 in ranging catcher and a 9 throwing arm. So he's a pretty good, solid fielding catcher. Good power. $14 million a year. I think it's probably a bit expensive for him, but I like the deal. Then again, I made the deal, so I should like it. That's pretty much it for the next group of days of free agency. I mean, Kendall Voles was signed by Washington for $6 million a year. I don't really get the contract. 73 stuff, 93 control, 53 movement. 53 movement is not going to get it done. I mean, in this league, he pitched to a 4.24 ERA in AAA last year, so that's not that good. But whatever, all the power to Washington. Maybe they see something I don't. Very possible. One of the sneaky good signings of free agency was Toronto signing Jeremy Hermida. Hermida's a solid player, good fielding, 79 contacts, 61 gap, 87 of discipline. So he's good at contact. He's a good eye. Hit 307 with a 394 on base in 2013. Didn't have a good season last year, but both of those were in limited time. Solid player. Good job by Toronto in signing them. San Francisco signed third baseman Ian Stewart at $7 million a year for 6 years. Stewart, another of those guys that probably should have been signed by Colorado, but they didn't have a GM. 70 contacts, 72 gap, 82 power, 75 avoid K, 75 I, 68 avoid K. Really solid catcher, good fielding, 92 fielding percentage with 10 range at third base. So $7 million a year, that's a decent contract. Okay job by Mike signing him. So all the power to him. The Dodgers signed Rafael Furcal to $5 million per year for 1 year. I don't really see why they had to give him that much money, but it's a re-signing by the Dodgers. He played well for them last year, 307, batting average of 355 on base. So they got their guy back. Good for them. And also in this group, we have the biggest signing of free agency, or we'll call it the Justin Morneau Award. Rob, the Yankees, went out and got the best pitcher in free agency. Best pitcher in this case being Trevor Cahill, or as some GMs have taken to calling him, Mr. One Star. And well, yes, he only has 1 star. He is only 26 years old, 84 stuff, 72 control, 85 movement, which is pretty decent ratings. Like I said, only 26 years old. He is an innings horse. Pitched 240 innings, 238 innings, 247 innings. So he will give you innings. Pitched well in the regular season in Oakland. His ERA has gone up every year. 2.88 the first year, 3.51 the second year, 3.85 the third year, and his past season went to a 4.92 ERA. So his ERA has blown up. And the downside, the problem with him is in the postseason he's been terrible. 0-4 in 4 starts with a 5.4 ERA. So never won a postseason game. Besides that, he's a solid starter. I mean, I think what I've always thought about him, that if he's your 3rd or 4th starter, you're probably in pretty good shape. I mean, if he's your 5th starter, you're great. If he's your ace or your number 2 starter, you are in trouble. But they're the Yankees, right? I mean, they have the money to spend, so let them go out and spend it. Last real signing, I think, of any note, San Francisco signed Evan Scribner, Bartleby the Scribner. I want to see anyone guess that literary reference. 29-year-old reliever who, though he would rather not, 92 stuff, 73 control, 69 movement. Pitched in 2.4 and 80 range play last season. Not bad, but I mean, 7.5 mil a year for him is a lot of money to give a reliever. But then again, Mike's not that smart, so can't really blame him for it. That's pretty much it for what I think are the big signings in free agency. I missed any of them? Feel free to point them out. I don't think Maloney's signing with Oakland, bad signing, but not that bad. Kelly signing in Oakland, another signed couple of pitchers that, if you ask me. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Again, good luck everybody in 2015. Peace.